whether the president is constitutionally correct in forwarding a letter given by a political party to the Home Ministry. In this case, the BJP demanding president's rule in the state to the Home Ministry.
Well, the president gets a lot of letters, and the president does forward, the president's secretariat does forward those letters. That is not in itself a constitutional act. Given the fact that it is president's rule, the imposition of president's rule can only be in accordance with the constitution on the basis of advice tendered to the honorable president by the Council of Ministers. That need not be sparked off by this letter. This is just a letter which has reached the president. The president forwards it and I've seen so many letters being written to the president. People lose cases in court. They write to the president. The president just forwards it to the ministry concerned and things like that. So there is no solemn constitutional act done here. The fact of the matter is, for imposition of president's rule, the standard set by the Supreme Court is a breakdown, an absolute breakdown of constitutional machinery. It is not a mere law and order situation. Now, yes, it has never happened so far that a chief minister has been in jail for this long. You must also bear in mind that the Supreme Court has adjourned the chief minister's bail, and possibly it will come up shortly on the 12th of September, if I mistake not. And by all indications, it does look like the chief minister will be out on bail sooner or later. So this is, in one sense, a last throw of the dice, a kind of whistling in the wind, saying, okay, we can impose president's rule before he comes out of jail. If if this were to go through only on the basis of this letter, I'm afraid it would be vulnerable to attack in the courts, and I do not think the courts would stand for this.
So, okay, Mr. Hegde, can I ask you this very quickly then? You're saying many people write all kinds of letters to the president, and it's not unusual at all for her to forward it to the concerned ministries. But in this case, again, I'm asking you, look at the circumstances. In this case, there is the BJP and BJP MLAs who write this memorandum, submit this memorandum to the President of India asking for the imposition of president's rule in the national capital, saying that the constitution has broken down. Now, if a letter has to be forwarded to the Home Ministry for advice or action, I'm fairly certain that the president would have read this. I wanted to ask you whether it is usual for a president to forward a letter that has been submitted to it, or a memorandum that has been submitted to it by a political party, especially on something as president's rule, because this is not the LG who's sending her a memorandum. This is the BJP. I was just wondering if that is unusual.
No, see, political parties do submit memorandums to the president. Sometimes we've even had the parade of MLAs in the forecourt or MPs in the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan. So every letter has to be dealt with in an official fashion, and it is not as if the president reads all letters. It is the president's secretariat who is trained in the art of not putting these letters in the dustbin, but putting it in the appropriate file. So there is this letter received. What is the concerned ministry which looks after Delhi? It's the Home Ministry. Send it to the Home Ministry. That is all that is most likely to have happened. On the other hand, the Lieutenant Governor were to send a report to the Home Ministry, and based upon the report, the Home Ministry were to advise the President to impose President's rule, that would be a solemn constitutional